All right, let's just dive right in. The term artificial intelligence is absolutely everywhere, right? From crazy sci-fi movies to the phone you're probably holding right now. And yeah, it can feel super complex, maybe even a little intimidating, but it really doesn't have to be. Stick with me and we're going to break it all down with a simple, clear roadmap to what AI really is and how it actually works.
So let's start with the big elephant in the room. When you hear a quote like this, especially from a mind like Stephen Hawking, it's totally understandable to feel a little freaked out. And for decades, pop culture has been feeding us this narrative, painting this picture of AI as some future villain just waiting to turn on us. It's a really powerful story, and it's completely natural to have those questions and, some real concerns.
The thing is, there's this massive gap between the AI we see in the movies and the AI that's actually out there in the world. Movies give us these conscious, world-dominating robots, but our real lives? They're filled with practical AI. I mean, the YouTube algorithm that probably suggested this video, the Face ID that unlocks your phone, the spam filter that keeps your inbox clean, that's all AI. They're not evil, they're just tools. So, what is the real difference here?
To get that answer, we need to pull back the curtain and understand how these machines actually learn. And I promise you, it is not magic. It all comes down to one single, crucial ingredient: data. Think of a normal computer program like a chef who can only follow a recipe, word for word. Humans write a set of super explicit instructions, and the computer follows them perfectly. But if it comes across something that's not in the recipe, it just stops. It has no idea what to do. Machine learning, which is the engine driving almost all modern AI, is a totally different game. Instead of giving it the recipe, you give it, say, thousands of pictures of finished cakes, and you tell it, you figure out the recipe. It learns to spot the patterns on its own, and then, this is the cool part, it can apply that knowledge to new cakes it's never seen before. We give it the data. The machine actually discovers the logic. So how in the world does it discover that logic? Well, it starts by looking for what we call features. A feature is just a fancy word for a distinct characteristic. For instance, if we want to teach an AI to identify a bird, we don't just say, look for a bird. We teach it to look for the features of a bird. Does it have a beak? Does it have wings? Feathers? 2 legs? These are the little building blocks of its understanding.
In this whole training thing, it's basically a simple loop, a cycle of guess and check. First, the AI sees tons of examples, thousands of photos all labeled bird. Then, we show it a new picture and it makes a guess. Let's say we show it a penguin. It might say not a bird because it can't really see wings like a sparrow has. That's when we give it feedback, a little correction. But here's the magic step. The AI then goes back and adjusts its own internal logic. It might learn, okay, maybe having visible wings isn't as important as having a beak. It does this over and over and over, millions of times, getting just a little bit smarter with every single correction.
Okay, now that we have a feel for how these things learn, let's clear up some of that jargon you always hear flying around. Terms like AI, machine learning, and deep learning get thrown around a lot, sometimes all at once. So let's build a quick and simple family tree to see how they all actually fit together. So, at the very top, the big umbrella over everything is artificial intelligence. This is the whole shebang. It's the entire field, the big idea that's been around for decades, dedicated to making machines that can do things that would normally require a human brain to figure out. Now, tucked right inside that big AI umbrella is machine learning. And this is really the most important piece of the puzzle for us today. In fact, when you hear people talking about AI in the news or for a new product, 9 times out of 10, they are actually talking about machine learning. Its key feature, as we saw, is that it learns straight from data. And if we go one level deeper, we find deep learning. This is a very specific, very powerful type of machine learning. It uses these really complex structures called neural networks, which aren't, believe it or not, loosely inspired by the wiring of the human brain. Deep learning is the powerhouse behind the stuff that really feels like magic, like image recognition and those giant language models everyone's talking about. So, let's put it all together real quick. AI is the whole field. Machine learning is the most popular part of that field, focused on learning from data, like your spam filter does. And deep learning is an even more powerful slice of machine learning, the kind of tech needed for really hard jobs, like a self-driving car spotting a person in the road. Simple as that.
Okay, so we've established that machines learn from data. Got it. But it turns out there isn't just one way to teach them. Think of it like there are different teaching methods for AI. Let's cover the 3 main rules of the road.
First step is supervised learning. And honestly, the best way to think about this is like giving a student a textbook, but you also give them the complete answer key.
All the data is perfectly neat and labeled. You feed the AI thousands of emails that have already been marked as spam or not spam, and it learns the patterns so it can do the same for all the new emails that come in.
Next, you have unsupervised learning. And in this case, you take away the answer key. There are no labels. You just give the AI a giant, messy mountain of data and say, find the hidden patterns in here. It's like dumping a million news articles on a table and asking it to sort them into piles. It doesn't know what sports or politics are, but it can figure out which articles use similar words and group them together on its own.
And finally, there's reinforcement learning. This one is so intuitive because it's exactly like training a dog. The AI tries to do something. If it does a good job, it gets a reward, a little digital treat. If it messes up, it gets a penalty. And over millions and millions of tries, it slowly learns the sequence of moves that gets it the most treats. This is exactly how AI has mastered incredibly complex games like chess and Go.
So, we've covered a lot of ground. We know the basics of how machines learn and the different styles of teaching them. So now, let's zoom out. Let's look at the big picture. Where does all of this leave us today, and what are the huge questions we need to start asking about tomorrow?
Now, this is maybe the single most important thing to get straight about AI right now. Every single AI system that exists today, every one, is what we call weak AI or narrow AI. It might be superhuman at one specific task, but that's it. The AI that can beat the world's best chess player cannot turn around and suggest a movie for you to watch. Strong AI, the kind from the movies that can think and reason and adapt just like a human, that is still completely theoretical. It just doesn't exist yet.
And even with the narrow AI we're facing some huge challenges. One is what's called the black box problem. Sometimes these systems get so complicated that even the people who built them don't know exactly why it made a certain decision. Like, there was an AI trained to identify wolves, but it turned out it was just looking for snow in the background of every picture. But an even bigger problem is bias. Now here's the key. AI doesn't just invent bias out of nowhere. It's a mirror. It finds the biases that already exist in our human data, and then it amplifies them at a massive scale. If you train an AI on hiring data from a company that historically favored men, that AI will learn that bias as a rule and start automating discrimination. It doesn't know it's being unfair. It's just really, really good at repeating our own worst habits.
And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway of all. An AI doesn't have a conscience. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't know right from wrong. It's just an incredibly powerful tool that reflects whatever data and goals we give it. So the fear of some evil robot taking over, it kind of misses the point. The real question, the one we all need to be asking, isn't what AI will do to us. It's what will we choose to do with it. That's the conversation that truly matters.